Are you unsure on how to set healthy boundaries in your marriage that don't end in a fight? No worries, I've totally got you. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know my 4 top solutions on how you too can learn to set healthy boundaries while being lovingly assertive. Before we dive into this amazing content, let me ask you, are you truly committed to doing the inner work to live your best life, all fueled by joy? I thought so. You would not be on our channel if you weren't. So make sure you hit the subscribe button with the little bell so you can be notified when all of our videos drop. We usually have one posted every Tuesday and Thursday. Boundaries in marriage isn't something we often think about because we think that once we're married that the other person is going to honor and respect us the same way that we honor and respect them. But what we fail to realize is that your needs, wants, and desires are different than your spouse's. And over time, as you begin to evolve, the relationship evolves and your needs and wants will as well. But typically, relationships just kind of stay the same. And we have to begin to invest the mental and emotional energy to up-level them so that your needs, as well as your partner's needs, are being met. If we don't, it can become very imbalanced and lead to resentment and often divorce. In fact, one of my clients called me the other day who was on the verge of divorce, and she applied these 4 solutions that I'm about to share with you in her marriage, and it saved her from filing divorce. You guys, this is powerful stuff, and I hope that you find a tremendous amount of value in it. So hopefully you have some pen and paper ready as we dive into our very, very first solution in setting healthy boundaries in your marriage. Number 1 is that you need to know what you want. What needs of yours are not being serviced? Where do you feel neglected? This is the first brainstorming exercise that I want you to work on. I really want you to list out what are your needs that aren't being met. Where are you feeling that you're not being served? And where do you think your partner is falling short? The reality is that your partner wants to love you. They didn't marry you out of malicious intent. They married you with good intentions, and they want to be there for you. But out of our emptiness, because we aren't getting our needs met, is where we start building that bitterness and that resentment and a disconnect, and there's a gap that starts to grow between the two of us. So for us to begin to get back together, this means that it means that both parties need to have a conversation about their needs. So we can learn to have a safe environment to speak up, have a safe environment for us to ask for our needs to be met, to balance things out a little bit more in that relationship. So that is the very, very first thing we need to do is get clear with what it is that you want. All right, so tip number 2 is important if you want to have constructive boundaries versus confrontational fights. Look, boundaries are really just 2 different people who have different sets of standards and viewpoints. That doesn't mean that they're right, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're right, but that's an often stance that we take. We want to be mindful to eliminate toxic language in the conversation around boundaries. What that means is that we want to take away the defensive stance and thus remove language such as always and never. These are 2 of the most toxic forms of communication you can use in your relationship. When you say things such as, he never takes out the trash, she's always on her phone, he never spends enough time with us, she's always busy, he's always grumpy, she's always blank. Right? So always and never are ways that we are trying to emphasize that they're not meeting our standards or our desires, or they're not operating to a capacity that really suits us. But by accusing them of never doing something and always behaving away, it'll immediately put them in a defensive stance that is going to lead you to a fight. So one of the things you want to do is begin to challenge how you're communicating your boundaries and take away any accusatory language that is going to put them in that defensive stance. All right. Hopefully this helps. And if you have some comments around this, please put it in the comment box below. I would love to know what are some of the language or the words that you use in your relationship that are leading to fights, and what did you replace them with? All right, this leads me into step or solution number 3, which is that we want to assume good intent. When asserting boundaries, a lot of times we are constantly in a defensive, argumentative stance because our needs aren't being met. And when our cup is on empty, it hurts. And so we are trying to express our hurt or our frustration with how our partner isn't measuring up. But look, it just means that your partner and you have different standards. You guys just have different ideas on how things are run. Or you two are so distant because of the fact that your needs aren't being met that you're in a confrontational state, or you're in like a numbed out state. You find yourself just shutting down because it's easier than having to deal, or you find yourself really being resentful because you're the only one leading the charge and the other person's feeling so neglectful. But the reality is, it's just that there's a lot of toxicity that maybe has developed between the relationship that has caused so much of a gap. So what we want to do is we want to start having conversations that are going to bring us both back to the table that are focused on improvement. So this means that we have to assume that your partner is in the marriage because they want to love you. I doubt that your partner married you out of malicious intent. I doubt when you guys shared your vows that your partner was like, I'm only just doing this because I have to and I don't really like you. No, I guarantee that your partner married you because there was some level or component of love and respect for each other. But relationships get messy, mostly because we start to evolve and grow. The dynamic evolves and grow and shifts and changes. And a lot of times we're not investing the energy and attention back into the relationship so that it can evolve to a better state of being. You guys, this is so, so important. Your partner wants to love you. You want to love your partner, but it's all the hurt and the resentment and the anger and the pain that is blocking your way. So if you need help shifting the emotion and not feeling so hurt, then check out this video here. All right, now this leads me into my 4th and final solution to help you in having healthy boundaries in your marriage. And it is number 4, request versus command. This is so big, you guys, okay? Super big. I absolutely want for you to be able to have a request versus a command. Again, what I keep emphasizing is that these are conversations, not consequences. So when you're going to assert boundaries in your marriage, you need to have a conversation, which means that their needs and wants have to be considered equally to your needs and wants as well. So this means that we need to come to the table and be willing to negotiate. And when we're commanding somebody to do something, there's no room for conversation there. There's no room for interpretation there. All we're doing is we're telling them that they need to step up, knock it off, quit doing that, stop being this, get off your phone, take out the trash. What are you doing? And all it's going to do is create fights. So you want to make a request versus a command. And the request is something as simple as this. Would you be willing to support me here? What do you think about this? How do you think we should do this better? What are some different solutions that you think we can do to have this need met? Now, this last one goes hand in hand with my top 4 boundary rules, which you can learn all about in this video here. All right, now you know 4 powerful solutions on how you can dramatically shift conversations in asserting boundaries in your marriage. But before you go out and start trying to do this live with your spouse, what I recommend is to practice it on paper first. And to help you do that, I created a 2-page asserting boundaries with love document that also includes my 3-strike policy for those difficult people in your life. You can download a copy of it right now for free in the descriptions as the first link that's in the descriptions below. So make sure to grab a copy and enjoy. Also, if you are ready and committed to finding a community full of powerful women who are obsessed with personal development, self-care, and being the best version of themselves, all fueled by love, then I strongly suggest that you join our Secret Rebels for Joy Facebook group. And you can find that by just clicking the link below as well. Wondering how you can master boundaries in more depth? Then you have to check out some of these other videos here. Now, if you check out our YouTube page as well, there's a 60-minute training on there on how to assert boundaries. Pro tip, put this playback speed in a little bit 1.5 or 1.75 or 2x so you can really get all of the information at a much rapider pace when you're watching those longer videos. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe with a little bell so that you never miss one of our videos, and be sure to share this with a friend, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.